Hey friends, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the experience of expansion and or some people call it ascension, and the emotions that can come up along the way. These form a predictable cycle. And if you understand how this cycle works, you can avoid being thrown off by the emotions, and then you can get through the experience much more easily. If you don't understand how it works, your emotions can lead you to think, oh my goodness, something has gone wrong, when actually things are going perfectly. So I've drawn a diagram to help explain this whole experience. So you start out here with some inspiration or some spark that leads you to take action in a way that is exciting and bolder than things that you've done in the past. And so it's called expansion because you're expanding your identity and your capacity. You're reaching to new levels of things you're able to do. So if you follow that inspiration, take action, you will predictably kick up some stored emotion that was held in place by your energy body just because in your previous limited identity, you never touched that spot. So now you've expanded and you've kicked up some emotions. You have some blowback from the emotions. And I call this the storm phase. So this is going to likely feel unpleasant in some way. Now, it could be very intense in some situations, could be pretty mild in other situations. What you want to do with these emotions is not take them literally. Whatever they're telling you, it is something from the past, and you want to not respond to it as if they're giving you information about your current situation. So you probably know what you do when emotions come up is you feel them, you sit with them, you don't have to react to them, you don't take them seriously, and you also don't have to push back against them. You don't have to argue with them. You just let them be there, you sit with them and release them. That gets you out of the storm part of the cycle. Then this is the part that I've never heard anyone talk about, but it is a common part of the experience. You reach what I call the blank phase of the cycle. And here you're not in the storm of released emotions or stuck emotions that come up, but you might feel empty, or you might feel very tired, you might feel discouraged, and you might feel like nothing makes any sense in your life. So these are not old emotions that you need to release, but at the same time, these are feelings you don't need to take seriously. You don't want to respond to them as if they're giving you good information, because they are not. What's happening in this phase is after you've expanded your identity, kicked up these emotions and dealt with them, you're now in a place where your mind is saying, wait, I'm confused about who I am and my circumstances, because this all doesn't fit together in the familiar way that I'm used to understanding myself and understanding the world. So your mind has to come to a new framework, a new understanding. And in the meantime, you can feel very disoriented or feel emotionally dead or feel like things don't quite fit together. So this is not a sign that something's wrong. It's not a sign that you did something wrong. It's a sign that you finished the release of emotions and now you're adapting to your new sense of who you are. So this is all good. What happens then after the blank phase is eventually if you tune in, you get the next spark of inspiration that leads you to the next expansive act. So, so the thing about this is, as you're going through this cycle, you're doing all the right things and really making yourself, what am I trying to say? You're rising to new levels of capability, expanding your identity. It's all good, but in 2 out of 3 phases, what you're feeling is giving you wrong information, and it's easy to think, why is this happening? What did I do wrong? Is this ever going to get settled? So the thing that's important to understand is you're not doing anything wrong. These are all predictable parts of a cycle, and it won't all get neatly settled until you're done expanding. So let me just walk through this again with an example. So I did my first YouTube video just like 3 weeks ago. It seems like a long time ago, but as I was going through the preparations for filming that and filming it and editing it, I got triggered by emotions that said, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. It's going to look bad. I will regret this for the rest of my life. All those things. So those were emotions of fear and self-doubt and anxiety, and they were giving me wrong information. They were not giving me good advice, and it's good that I understood this cycle at that point, and I knew that I could disregard those emotions. I could sit with them and release them and get on to the next step in my process. But there were also times in there when I was unusually tired or felt like confused about where I was. Like, if I can actually do this YouTube video, then how does that fit in with all the plans I've had and the idea of who I am? So I said, I'm going to go ahead and do this, but I'm going to have to rethink everything because it sure doesn't seem to make sense. But I knew that was part of the cycle, and I knew I didn't have to react to that, so I just went on to the next step of creating that video. So you can save all that time. If you know this is coming, you don't have to take the emotions seriously. You stick with the plan that you had. You can rethink it when you have settled, at least for a moment. But you don't want to rethink anything in response to these emotions that come up during this predictable cycle. All right, so I hope this helps. I hope this helps you understand what's happening as you expand your identity and do greater things. And feel free to come back next time. I will certainly have more guidance like this. All right, see you in the next video.